This is the dual clutch assembly out of a Ford Focus with the power shift transmission. This is their version of a dual clutch transmission. They have two dry clutches. Now, there are various manufacturers that make tools to work on this. One is Adaptacase, and I think this is very clever. What happens is that it's retained here with the snap ring. There is part of the hub of this first clutch assembly, and the idea is I'm pulling the bearing off of the second turbine shaft. And you'll notice this adapter comes down and goes around the first turbine shaft and bears against the second turbine shaft, and I'm actually pulling the clutch assembly up off of that second turbine shaft. There's actually a bearing there that's supporting the clutch assembly, and it doesn't put any strain on any parts of the transmission. It shouldn't, and it's actually pulling straight up, and it works very, very nicely. All right, here as I disassemble and prepare to remove the clutch assembly on Ford's power shift dual clutch transmission, I'll be removing this snap ring, pulling the hub out for the first clutch plate. Now, there's going to be a snap ring that's retaining this bearing there to the second turbine shaft. Now, obviously, when I'm working on it, I want to have removed the servo motors, and Adaptacase gives you a nice little Allen wrench so you can make sure that you're backed off on the clutch actuator. So make sure these are backed off, and they should be. I normally should be when you're taking the car out, but because what happens is I'll have to run these in to actually apply the clutch. So make sure they're backed out. And then what I need to do is I don't want any tension against this snap ring. So what I want to do is I just want to take this tool there, and it goes down over the inner turbine shaft, outer turbine shaft, and just bears against that snap ring, and just give it a tap there with a carpethane hammer, and that should loosen it up, and then I should be able to remove it with snap ring pliers without any trouble whatsoever. Then as we look over here, the actual puller is going to fit down over the first turbine shaft. Here, this is where the bearing, and this is where I've removed that snap ring, and this is actually going to pull the clutch and bearing off of this turbine shaft very smoothly, very easily. And by the way, it's a very light press fit. In fact, mostly this is almost an assembly aid to help you lift the assembly up out of the bell housing. Now, obviously, I've cleaned this up carefully. Sure didn't look like this when we pulled the transmission. It was full of dust. And of course, obviously, on late model clutches, we're not using asbestos, but still the iron oxide and the fibrous material left over from the clutch. Now we're getting ready to install a new lock clutch assembly. Okay, this is our lock Repset 2CT, well, I guess dual clutch assembly for the Ford power shift transmission. And here we see it, brand new, ready to go. Rather expensive, but includes everything that you need. You get the new snap ring, hardware, throw-out bearings, fasteners, sleeve, additional fasteners, and then the actual actuators themselves. And so we'll be installing this and setting it up, and hopefully our Ford Focus will be on its way down the road with a happy customer.